Hello, hello, and welcome to the Friday Fuel Up. In today's edition, with it being Father's Day, I asked my dad to join me for this Energize life tip on who knows best. So my dad's initials are W.H.O. So this is Wayne Osborne. Say hi, Dad.
Hello, W.H.O.
So because my dad has just been a wealth of advice in his going on almost 80 years here, I thought it'd be fun to have him share some tips on how he's energized his life. So, hey, Dad.
Okay, well, I've got quite a few things to say. I don't know how many of them are wise, but I still have lots of things to say.
Well, how about this? Tell me, what's something like a childhood experience or something that you feel like has fueled your success as a father, as just an individual, or just your life in general?
Well, I put down a few little notes of things that I remembered. I think the things that have basically fueled my success is to have confidence in your abilities. Be willing to take on responsibilities and leadership roles when the opportunities arise. Nobody's fully prepared for these roles. They say, well, I don't know how to do that. I'm not trained to be a secretary. Well, go ahead and try it anyway. These are the opportunities for real growth. I've been a teacher, a manager, a youth sports coach, and president of more organizations than I can think of, many of which I didn't even know when I got into them what their purpose was going to be.
I know, JR, my brother, and I always giggle that one day you're going to be the mayor of your town that you're in there.
I don't know if I'll be mayor, but I have had a lot of good experiences trying these things. So childhood successes are things in my childhood that might have helped. We moved around a lot when I was young, and it seemed like it was every 3 or 4 years a new city. One of the lessons learned was you can always meet new friends, and every area you go to has its attractions and advantages of being there. So look forward to these changes in life as opportunities. Don't regret that, well, the possible loss, if I'd have stayed where I was, it would have been better. There's always things to look forward to.
I love it. I love it. So what about, about the Fuel Up, because I know you read it. So what about unplugging stress? What are some of the ways or advice that you have for unplugging stress?
Well, unplugging stress is pretty simple. Keep worries to a minimum. Things will work out. And at times you just have to go with the flow. Find that particularly when you're traveling. Do your best. Don't dwell on the criticisms of others. Especially those people who are unwilling to take on the leadership role. They always say, well, you should have done that. Well, maybe you should try this. You're in charge. You have to sort of have confidence in your abilities. Things will work out. And you see that when you're traveling, there's always unexpected things. The airline switches the seat that you expected, or the plane's delayed. There's not much you can do about it. Just go with it and don't worry about it and say, we'll get there. It'll work out.
I love it. I love it. And even though it's a great reminder, because as you know, I'm sometimes wired to get wrapped up in the details and forget to let go. So I appreciate that reminder. Anything else for unplugging stress, or maybe something you do for fun?
Well, there's some habits that I've developed to sort of, what do you call it, energize your life. I think that's what you call it on this thing.
You got it, Dad.
And I'm almost 80 years, so I guess some of them have worked, at least partly worked. As much as possible, I try to keep to a regular schedule. I go to bed about 10:30 or 11 o'clock each night, and I get up around 7 o'clock every morning. I try not to vary much from that. I try to have at least a couple of healthy, regular meals. I don't catch everything as a fast food, I'm going to work at my desk type of thing. And I would say an important thing is don't argue with your spouse if you're married. That can be very stressful. So sometimes you just have to sit back, bite your tongue and say, okay, that's all right. We'll talk about that later.
Well, it seems to be working. You and Mom are 50 plus years.
Yes, we are. I think, we have a renewable contract every year on our anniversary. Say, should we try it one more year? And so far, we keep going.
Oh, I love it. Wow. Even in the renewable energy reference, you rock, Dad.
So another activity, another thing is activities. In your working life, I think it's important that you cultivate some hobbies or join some group. Don't just concentrate on the job at hand. I know you're probably interested in your job. You're trying to do the best job. You want to get through all these things, but you're never going to be finished with all the work that's out there. You have to take some time to just sort of sit back. When I was, working, I did some stamp collecting every once in a while. Just decide I'm going to go look at my stamp collection, get a bunch of new stamps and go through them and look for those gems. Didn't find any gems, but it was fun looking. And occasional fishing trips. Once in a while, we get together with some friends of mine and we say, well, just take a weekend and go off and forget everything. We'll go camping and try to catch some fish. Even if we didn't catch many fish, it was still fun and it was relaxing.
And there's nothing like an Osborne game night, is there?
That's right. Osborne game nights are fun. And then I think for those that are getting farther along in their career, now that I'm older, people often say, what do you think about retirement? And my advice is retire earlier rather than later. Some people think that, the company can't get along without them, or I really like what I'm doing. I just want to hang in there. But sometimes it's time to let go, let the new generation take over and concentrate on those different things you never have time for when you're working. For us, it's been traveling and volunteer activities, getting involved in different types of things than you do in a formal work setting. Of course, what makes it nice is you don't have to get up and go off to a certain thing every day. You can sort of get up and poke around the house and do a few little jobs before you head off to your volunteer activity. And if you don't feel like doing it that day, you can call in and say, I think maybe I'll just pass today. We'll do it tomorrow. Don't put off retirement too long if you're getting near the end of your career, and make some plans for it. Things will work out. You'll always have enough money to get by. And I think don't stress about what it's going to be after I'm no longer working.
Yeah, I love all this advice, Dad. You've always imparted this on us through the years, and I'm just grateful that, I don't know, you're willing to share it. And I love that we're color coordinating today. We were talking about that before I hit record, that it must be Orange Day, Orange Osborne Day.
Orange Osborne.
So what's something that, as you look at, advice that you hope I've listened to, or JR or Christine have listened to over the years, what's something that either that you've learned that you want to leave, or something that you just want us to know and want the readers of the Friday Fuel Up to know about?
Okay, well, the younger children never listen to your advice anyway. They come back later in life and say, you never thought you'd know this. We never thought that you could relate to what we were doing. But what I think and what I'm so proud of is with my children, we have 3 children, is the positive relations amongst the siblings. Everybody thinks differently. There are always different opinions, different ways of doing things. Everybody stresses this is the way it should be done. But you've got to sort of compromise and accept those in your family. This what happens in many families is people dwell on things. Back when I was a kid, my older brother got to do this and I didn't get to do this. And they're still worrying about that 40 years later. Just let it go. You can laugh about those things, but don't dwell on them and make it a stress in your life.
I love that you shared that, especially, and I remember when Christine and I were younger, right before she got married, we were out and we were just talking about how she always said, I always felt like I was in your shadows because, you were the oldest. And I said, what? I always felt like I was in your shadows and that Mom and Dad, because you were valedictorian and I wasn't, and all kinds of, or salutatorian, whatever she was. But anyways, we always giggled, and it was just a really great time for us to connect and realize that we shouldn't be comparing each other to each other.
How come we 2 girls have to share a bedroom and our brother has his own bedroom?
Oh yeah, that was that. Yeah. I was just telling Christine recently about how I appreciated the fact that she put up with sharing a room with me and all my crazy experiments I had, like the umbrella that was a throwback to Benjamin Franklin, and tying the umbrella to a string, to the light string in the closet, so that I could pull that string in the morning and my clothes could fall down the string to the bed, and how she put up with that, sharing a room with me. So anything, go ahead.
Well, one final thing I'll say, you said maybe I might mention something about a childhood success.
Yes.
And as I said, we moved around a little bit. In my senior year of high school, I had to go to a new high school. And that's a little bit scary in high school.
I
To
didn't
go
know
off and have
that.
to start a new one. And it was interesting because I went to the school, and actually on, I think, the first or second day I was there, I met this person, and he said, what we really need is somebody to be on our student disciplinary court. Would you like to be a justice on the student disciplinary court? And I thought, what in the world would I get into? But I said, well, he said, would you help out? I'm the chief justice and I need somebody. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I did that. And it turned out that I made a lifelong friend. In fact, I talked to him last night after these 60 or 70 years. And he still keeps in touch with me every once in a while. And we talk about, the times back in high school. And that actually, my senior year was my best year of high school, even though it was a brand new experience.
I love that story. That is awesome. I didn't even know that. And I didn't know you had to go through that challenge of starting a new high school as a senior. I can't even imagine what that was like. So, well, I want to say thank you for taking time to be part of the energy of the Fuel Up. I just love you. And I am excited to celebrate you as Father's Day, even though it'll be virtual this weekend, and all the fathers here on the Friday Fuel Up. And hope you enjoyed this little mini episode of Who Knows Best with Wayne
Right.
Henry Osborne here. Thanks, Dad.
Bye,
I
all.
love
Good
you.
to see you. Good to see you, Natalie. I always enjoy chatting with you.
I love it too. Love you, Dad.
Bye. Love you.
Oh, I've got